And real quickly here, I just want to go over how to import our character sketches into Adobe Illustrator and set up our workspace. So I'm just going to screen capture for now this top menu bar. We got Illustrator application open. We go File, New. This is all fine. We just want to make sure, I'll move it over here. We have the CMYK color mode, and you can select RGB or CMYK here. Everything else is fine, default. Click OK. And the first thing that I usually get rid of, which pops up with almost every new file, is this artboard. You can't really see it for the way I have it screen captured now. It's kind of in the corner, but this is basically just a rectangular box that represents the 8.5 by 11 inch frame that was set up by default. And to get rid of that, you just go to View, Hide Artboard. And now we want to set up our workspace, and the tools that I want to use are going to be under the window file, and I'm going to need my color palette. Move that here. I'm going to need my gradient tool. Move it under here. You can just connect them. Layers, F7, and my Pathfinder tool. That up, and we will need our tools, of course. I usually keep them over here. And last thing we'll need is transparency. Just keep it at the bottom here. Now that we have our workspace set up and we're happy with the tools we have, and we just want to make it easy, so every time we come into the program we can just have our workspace set up. We go to Window, Workspace, Save Workspace. And we'll just save this as a tutorial for right now. Okay. So if I ever need to find it, I have all my tools closed out. I just go to Window, Workspace, then it'll pop up top Tutorial, and everything will come back that I had before. Now we're going to import our JPEGs that we made, our character designs, the sketches. So we got our layer open here, and we go to File, Place. There's no import, it's just Place. And I'm going to go to my desktop, it's under Examples, and we're going to import Sketch 1. And we go down and hit Place. And it shows up here. I'm going to change the screenshot now, just so we can maximize our workspace. We're not really going to need this menu bar anymore. Everything I'm going to show you is basically going to be just with the tools here. So we're going to switch over now. Okay, so we got our first character imported here into Illustrator CS3, and we're going to get started on following the shapes and the lines with our pen tool. I've got the layer as layer 1 here. It's locked right now, so I can't move it or adjust it or anything, and that's good. I don't want to right now. I want to keep it stationary. First thing I'm going to do is add a new layer above it. And what I like to do is start off with the face first. And I'll just move that down. A good way of moving your object or your screen around is just hold the space bar, makes the hands close, and you can just drag back and forth to fit your screen. So with the face, what I do is I start off with a color that it really doesn't matter what color it is. That's great about Illustrator and Flash and these vector programs is you can switch your colors pretty easily, pretty quickly. So I use colors at first. I use pretty bright, random colors that I'll still be able to see and will let me know where I am on the line. And I'll just show you what I do here. In order to make a curved line with Illustrator using the pen tool, what we'll do is we'll start off with a point, so we'll just click on the area we want to start at, and then we'll move our cursor or our pen tool to where we want the curved line to end, and we'll click, but we hold down this time. We click and hold down, and then we can drag left or right depending on how much of a curve or arc we want our pen tool line to have, and we can tell how much by the reference line that it gives us. And to close the point, I click back on the point. Whenever you have the option of closing it and you get your cursor right up to the point, it'll give you that little arrow sign next to it, and that means you're closing it out. And I'm just going to go all the way across, put another dot right there, come up to here, stretch it until it fits the curve, and close it out. And then I'm going to go up here, and this is selected right now, this shape, and I'm going to change the transparency so that I can see through it. I bring it down to around there, and that's why I chose this color, because I can change the transparency, bring the transparency really down, the opacity, and still be able to see it and still be able to follow the line. So I got my point closed off. I'm going to go up to the eye, and I'm just going to try and follow that line as closely as I can. And close it off, and we're going to be adding the eyes on a different layer later, so I don't even have to worry about going through them right now. I wasn't happy with how the top of the head went. You're going to notice I'm going to be fixing a lot of things up here in Illustrator. This is really where I do most of my corrective work. A lot of people like to do their corrections with the original sketch. I didn't do that. I didn't even go over it after I drew it. I just knew that the way I draw, I kind of work things out in Illustrator and fix up all my little problems. So what I'm going to do is just change his head like this, make it more narrow. I feel like it has a better flow to it now. It was a little awkward with how that line just went up and his head just protruded like that. So there we go, that's closed out. And to deselect it, I'm going to go up here to my black arrow key and just click off it. You can also go select, deselect, yep. Okay, so now we're going to start a new layer, and it's important to keep your layers organized and keep everything separate. All the major components need to be on their own layers so you can keep track and go back and change whatever you need to change. So now I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to do the eyes. And the eyes, of course, in the final are going to be white, but for now I'm just going to use another color that is bright and stands out, and I can change the opacity too and the transparency too. So I'm just going to put a point, come over here to the end of the eye, towards the nose, and just drag my pen tool until I get the curve I want. Come back around here, drag it out a little, come to the side, drag it, and close it out. Now I'm not happy with that because you see the divot here goes around and divots in at the top, so I'm just going to edit undo a couple times, go back to the beginning. Here we go. And this one should work a little better. There we go, that's better. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the other eye. I'm just going to change the color up a little bit. And this eye, I'm going to, once I finish pen tooling it here, I'm going to change its order on the layers so it's behind this eye. There we go. That part will be hidden behind the other eye, so I don't really have to worry too much about it. In order to change it and put it behind the other eye, I go to that layer that I was just working on, grab it, you see it selected here in the tag, and drag it under it. It'll give me a little arrow sign and let me know I'm under that eye. So now that's behind it. Close this off. Name it eyes. Okay. This one will be this layer's head, the purple. And now we're going to do a new layer, and this time I figured we'd just go right into drawing this funky nose here. And what I'm going to do with this is I don't use a lot of outlines in the characters I do, but for this I'm going to have to do an outline because the nose needs to stand out. Sometimes what I do is just a gradient on the nose, and that makes it stand out enough, and I don't need any outline to the nose. But with this character, his nose is a little too thin and skinny that I'm just going to do an outline. So I can use a darker color for this. It's actually going to go below the eyes because I'm going to start my line up in the eyes, and I don't want the nose going over the eyeballs. So I come down, straight line, maybe a little curve, come back up, leave it open, follow the line, and I'm going to come out here because I'm going to need a little more room than I gave myself. Dot. Give myself some more space than I did originally. I've changed the opacity to it, the transparency, so I can see through and see where I'm going with this. And just bring the nose around. Now I'm going to retrace, and I got to keep this line pretty thin, especially around here. And with this curve, I'm going to be coming back around. I want to put my dot a little before the dot I had previously done on the other side of it, the opposing side. So, because otherwise, if I put it right here, it's fine there, but where it messes up is here. So, let me see. Actually, that wasn't too bad compared to how it usually works out. But I'm sure it'll come up again, and I'll be able to show you better. And here we go again, before the line, before the dot in the previous one. Gotta get it pretty thin in here. And I keep it kind of thick here, close it out. Let's increase the opacity, see what we're working with there. Okay, that'll work for now. If we need to make any changes, we can do that a little later. Okay, let's name it nose. Bam. Alright, let's start on the mouth here. Wasn't too happy with the mouth actually. After looking at it, I think the mouth needs to be a little bigger on this wide frame of a face. And maybe move down a little more. So for right now, again, we're just picking a random bright color, something that will stick out, because we're just trying to get the shapes right now. We're not even worried about the colors, the gradients. So this is what I was thinking. Maybe just a bigger mouth, a wider pie hole, if you will. Let me see. No, that's not going to work. We'll go. Yeah, it looks alright. It'll work for now. And make that transparent so we can see through it, see our lines from the original sketch. And we're going to zoom in on that. And you can see that we already have changed the design, so I'm not really going to be able to copy over my last line, but the idea is still there. I need to get the teeth drawn in. For the teeth, we'll just use a bright green. Get close to the line. I'm going to change the opacity of this actually, just so we can see the outline a little better, and I can pinpoint where to put the teeth in. I'm going to get right as close as I can to it, come down, and bring it to the other side. And well, I'll show you a trick that you can do. The way I'm going right now is I put it on the side. Now I can follow the exact outline as close as I can and just close it out. It's kind of tough sometimes. Let's see if I can just get it from a drag point. Yeah, that works. Okay, but another way of doing it, I'm just going to make this disappear real quick and show you another way, is I'll start out and I can go over the line. I can start. I don't have to be exact with it right now, and just come up like that. And what I do is make it transparent, and now I can create a new path with a different color. And this path will be on top of this green tooth layer that I just drew. And I'll start it out right here. I'll follow the contour that I can see through the transparency. Come around. There we go. And this is all extra as long as it's covering up the previous path, that green. So here's what I do. I select this shape that I just drew, and then I hold shift, or you can do it over here too. I hold shift and I select the green tooth that I just drew, and I come down to my Pathfinder menu here, and I click on this subtract from shape area icon, the symbol here, And what that does is it subtracts the top layer from the bottom. It basically cuts it out. And then I go to expand. You see how now, watch, when I click off it and click back on it, I still have these pinpoints there, these vector points, but they're not visible. When I expand it, it just closes them off and brings it back to the shape I'm looking for, the subtracted shape. So this one actually not as accurate as the one I did right before it. I just kind of wanted to show you how to use it, so I'm going to delete it. Just take the path, drag it down, and drop it in the trash. Click the eye symbol back on that layer, and it pops back in. So there's my tooth. Now I'm going to do the bottom teeth that I had drawn before. I'll show you in this, I'll make this transparent again so we can see through. You see in the original sketch I had the bottom teeth right here, so I'm just going to go back in and draw those. I'll do the same color. Oops, I had that selected. Click on that. Okay. And here we go. Oh, you know what? I can't see it very well. I got to change the transparency so I can see the line again. Okay, that'll work. To get back to the path that I want to be on, to do my next path that will be on top of it, I just click on it. I click on the shape, and that brings me right to the correct layer and the correct path. And now when I click off it, I'm still just going to end up putting the next shape in layer 5 on top of that path. So here we go. Find line. Give it a little arch and bring it back down the line, straight line there. Okay, there we go. Those are our teeth. Let's do the chin. I want to use the same color that on the chin that I did with the nose. So I'm just going to go back up here. I got my black arrow. I'm going to select the nose, click off, and when I select the nose, you can see that in my color palette, that color fill comes up exactly, and it's down here too. So then I can just click off it, and that color is still selected, and I can now just go over the chin line. But the chin line, actually, I'll just copy it and then change it. So there we go. Bring it back up, and there we go. Now this has to move a little bit because the mouth, I made the mouth a little wider and it moved from the original drawing, so I'm just going to drag it over and maybe expand it a little and make it match up a little better there. Okay, that would be about right there. We're going to zoom back out, see how we're doing so far. It looks pretty awkward right now, but I promise you this is just a tip, a quicker technique to get your image copied in Illustrator. And we're going to go back. I guess now we'll do the hair. So we're going to add a new layer. The hair is going to be our new top layer. You can lock all these layers so that you don't, while drawing your hair, you don't accidentally, say the eyes are unlocked, drag an eye over or mess with any of the points. So everything's going to be locked up. And here we go. Guess we'll go black hair. And remember, this sketch in the background has changed. Our new shape is this purple shape. So I have to follow the contour of that when drawing the hair. I'm going to start off with the widow's peak, stretch it out here, bring it back, and just kind of create a couple divots. There we go. Bring it back down to here. Now I'm going to make it transparent so I can see through again. And what I had originally drawn, the hairline comes back up like this. Over, up, and reconnects to form the widow's peak. Okay, let's see how that looks. Now what I did is I put that hair layer on top of the eyes, which I didn't mean to do, but that's no problem. All I have to do, the eye layer can actually be one of my top layers because there's nothing really that's going to be in front of it. So I'll just drag the eye layer over the hair, and you can see the hair disappears behind the eyes. So now I can change the transparency on this. I don't need it. I don't need the opacity down on it. There we go. And next we'll do his ear. I'm gonna need a little more clarity on where the line is, so I'm gonna change the opacity to the head shape. It makes it a little brighter. Block it off. Add the layer. This layer can actually go behind the head. It's the ear. And I'll keep it the same color when I do this as the original head. So I'm just going to follow the line. Give it curves point to point. And drag it down here. Close it and bring it in. There we go. And click off it to deselect it. I'm going to do the bottom part of it. The earlobe. Alright, there we go. And I'm going to change the opacity of this. I click on one object and I hold shift and click on the other, and that selects them both. So then I can change the transparency of both of them at the same time. Okay, there we go. Okay. Alright, our next move is going to be to actually put a drop shadow behind the eyes, and this part gets a little tricky, and I got a little tip for you here. What we'll do is lock the ears, unlock the eyes, lock the hair again, because this is the only layer. The eyes layer is the only one we're going to be working on right now. It's pretty handy to keep all your layers locked that you're not using, because you'd be surprised how many times you're just moving your mouse and you're going pretty quick, and next thing you know, you're dragging stuff all over the place and you don't even realize you move it. So we're just going to select the eye, click on it, black arrow key, and what I do is I hit enter, and this pops up, and all I want to do is copy it. So I copy it once, bam, I got a new exact copy of that eye. And this is, if I pull on the layer here, this selected eye is now on top of the eye that I copied. So if I change its color, it'll block the eye behind. But what I want to do with this is actually put this behind this eye, because this is going to be my shadow of this eye. So I just select it and drag it under it and drop it. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I hold, when I have this selected, I hold shift and drag it out, and that keeps its exact shape. It just is enlarging it. But it keeps the exact contour of it, everything. So I'm just going to stretch it down, bring it up a little. Okay. I don't really need it showing over here. It's about as much shadow as I need. Okay, so now we do have a little problem. If this is the shadow, it shouldn't be going past the head layer. So what I want to do is add a new path over it with some crazy color, just something that stands out, red, and I follow the line of the head, the original drawing, the original shape here, and just expand it out past it. Now I select that layer that I drew, it's right here, and I drag it down so it's on top of that yellow eyeshadow layer that I just created. And I hold shift and select that, go down to my pathfinder, subtract from layer again, that gets rid of it there. Now I still have those points, I want to get rid of those. It's very important to expand it right afterwards, and bam. Now I'll actually show you how this works. I'll change the color up on it. So I'm going to select the original eye, we'll just make it white for now, and say, we'll just say for now that the actual color of this guy's head is going to be this purple color. So what I want to do, since it's a shadow that's going to be on this purple head, is I'll make it a darker shade of purple. And from there I can, once I have a purple selected that's darker, then I can change its opacity and bring it down so it's not, doesn't quite stand out as much, but it still has that shadow quality to it. And there you go. Now this only problem is the hair now is behind that shadow, and you can see the shadow overlapping the hair. So what I want to do is just grab the hair path and put it in front of that, there we go, in front of that shadow. So we're going to do the same thing for this eye now. We're going to enter to copy it. This pops up and you hit enter once you select your path. Copy. Change the color on it. Actually, right away we can just change it to our new color by grabbing the eyedropper symbol, coming over to the shadow we just created, the color, and it'll match its color and opacity. It'll bring it down to 35 and match the color that we originally did. So once again, we have to take that shape, drag it behind the original eye, select it, bring it down, and this one we're going to have to cut off a lot because this eye goes way past past the shape of the head. So I guess around there will work. You bring it up a little more, down a little here, because the only part I'm worried about is right in here. This is the only part of the shadow that's going to show. So deselect it. Let's do a subtraction layer shape. We're going to follow the contour of the eye. Close it. Come out with it. There we go. As long as it's overlapping it completely, we're going to grab that shape, drag it down. So it's got to be the path on top of it. Like I can't. This won't work if this is my shape here. It's selected here. If this is, say, one path above this layer, and I select them both and try to subtract from it, it doesn't work. It ends up subtracting the layers in between. So I'm just going to edit undo. Make sure this layer is this path is directly on top of the path I need to subtract from. Actually, it was this path, I'm sorry. It was these two paths, because this is the layer that I'm subtracting from. The eye stays. That blue eye is going to stay. So they're selected, subtraction layer, expand, bam, shadows there. Let's change the eye to white. And there we go. So we got that. We got the shadow. Okay, and now while we're still doing these funky color outlines, I'm just going to continue on and do the rest of the body, the torso, and then we'll come back and we're going to make sense of all these shapes that we've just made. But this is just kind of an easier way, a quicker way to quickly run through the outline of your image and figure out where you want to go with it. So I'm going to start a new layer. Actually, there's nothing on this layer because I deleted, so I'll just drag this layer above everything else, close everything off, and we'll do a blue for the collar. Down. Again, we'll make it transparent so we can see through it. We'll go a little darker blue for the rest. I'm going to zoom out a little. We do the torso here. And start it right here. I only have to go to around here. I don't have to go to, because I'm going to do the arm on a separate layer. Actually, yeah, I'm going to do the arm on a separate layer because that's going to be a different color. And since this is just going to be overlapped by the arm, it doesn't really matter if I follow any lines here. And I'm going to arc it to match up with the line I drew. Now I'm going to need to change the transparency so I can keep track of where I'm going with this. I just close the point, and now I'm going to bring it up here and just follow that torso line and curve it just like that. Close it out. Now I'm going to take this layer, it's still selected right now. Actually, it's always good to completely close off your shape. Like right now it's an open shape. When I bring my arrow after clicking on this point, and I bring my arrow over to the point, you can see turns into a white little box, and a little circle shows up next to my pen tool cursor. I just close it off, click, and now it's a complete closed off shape. So I'm going to select it and drag it under the collar because I want this collar layer to be on top of this layer. This is going to show up on top of this layer. And now we're going to do the arm, and I'm going to do it in another darker blue. And I'm just going to go right here, drag it, arch it, Cross follow this line. Change my transparency so I can see through again and keep track of my sketch and where I'm going with these lines. Drag it to follow the line and close it. Now you see we had a little trouble. I had trouble seeing when I was making this point to this point. The color of my pen tool, I believe it's this pink color, and I was kind of blending pretty harshly with the red outline, and it was tough to see. What you can do is go to that layer with the color and double click on the layer, and you can change the color of the pen tool line that you want. So I could have used like a green on there, and it would have shown up below. You can see it now; it shows up better. So just a quick little tip. And now I'm going to do the fold in the shirt just above his wrist, if you want to call that a wrist. Use a bright color, and this one will stick out a little more. I'll do a straight line here, and I'll curve it up here just because it's kind of that D shape idea again. There we go. Make it transparent just so we're keeping track of where it is, and I'll need to be putting a couple shadow folds in it later. So now I'm going to do this arm sleeve, and I'm going to do it in the same color as I did the front, his left arm sleeve. So I'll start off up here, follow it down, give it the curve, go straight down here and bring it back. Now it's okay that this is overlapping as long as I need to fill this area. I need to go past that, so I just arch it, close it out, and now I'm going to take my eyedropper tool, go back over the arm that I first drew, the sleeve, click on it so it brings this one to the same transparency and color. Select it. I see it selected over here in my layers palette, and I want to put it behind everything. I want to put it behind this torso layer. So now it's because this is in the background, so now this is in front of the new arm that I just drew. So we got that arm in the background now. I'm just going to deselect, close it up. I guess the next, actually I'll do the rolled up sleeve in the same color as I did it over here. Just grab my eyedropper, click over it, come back. This I will, I'm going to kind of bring it up here further. I don't think I had drawn it the right way before, so I'll just bring it up here, give it a little curve, straight line over here, and I'll close it. I'll have it end up right back there. That'll work. Okay, and stay the same color there. And next we're going to do this little tie he's got. And to do that, we're going to have to first create a line that tie is coming out of on the collar. So I already have this collar as a blue. I'll just go a darker blue. Kind of make this V shape here. Make it thicker in the middle. That works fine. And for the tie, we'll just go black right now with it. And that needs to go behind this black tie. The knot part needs to go behind the crease I just drew, the dark blue. And what we'll do is have the tie come down. I like to sometimes not even connect it, it's just a design idea. You don't always have to connect it. It's a cartoon. You got a lot of freedom to do whatever you want, so it's just a little thing I do every once in a while with it. Bring it back up. Maybe put a slight curve on it. Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's see. Zoom out. Okay, and now we'll do the suspenders, or at least this one here. Do it in this color. Start here. This pen tool, I know if you don't use Illustrator a lot, and a lot of reason people don't use Illustrator is because they're frustrated with the pen tool, or they're not sure how to use the pen tool. Pen tool is an odd tool if you're just used to drawing. It's tough to get used to. It doesn't make sense really at first. It's just something that you have to practice with. You have to practice with the pen tool like you have to practice sketching. It's just something you'll learn it over time. It won't even take you that long. I mean, you draw yourself some sketches and you go over it a couple times. You'll be well on your way to understanding the pen tool and being more comfortable with it. And I know it did take me a little bit too. And at first when I started drawing, the only thing I used was Photoshop, and I never used a pen tool. I tried it a couple times and I was like, oh, this sucks, you know. But just get used to it, and then I just like it for the clean lines it can give you, and the great shapes you can use and build things with. So it might be tough at first and a little discouraging, but stick with it. It's actually a pretty cool tool. So okay, we got those in. I'm gonna fix those up, maybe do something a little different with them later, but for now they'll just work as a placeholder. I'm gonna do the pants now, and we'll do those in, I guess, a green for now. Zoom out a little bit so we can see. Okay, yeah, these start pretty up high, and they need to be. See, the pants need to be over. I'll just put them under this layer. I'll put them under. I'll put it under this entire torso layer. I'll select it to show you what I'm talking about. This whole torso layer that I just drew, I'm going to throw the pants under it so I don't have to kind of intermingle the paths and the layers. So lock the torso. Let's draw these pants. I'll start over here. Come over here. And again, it'll all be hidden, so I don't really have to worry about it. This arm is going to cover these pants until I get right here. That's when this leg comes out. And I'm pretty much just going to follow this line as it is. I don't want to change it too much. Sometimes you can get carried away, and it's always good to have a sketch you're working with, because with a computer, when drawing with computer programs, sometimes you can lose that original artwork, handmade artwork look, and your work can end up just kind of looking a little too computerized and blocky. So I like using sketches just to keep that original, traditional look as much as I can. And we'll come back over here. Again, this is all going to be hidden here. And I'll actually just cut off that leg for now and do that in a different color. Okay, I'm going to bring it up here. And right here I got to come in because this is where the belt is going to be. It's going to be kind of a tight fit around the pants, so it's got that indent there. And for this leg behind, I'm going to do a darker green. And just follow the line. There we go. And come up here. And it can go. Sorry if I go over. So I'm going to change the transparency to this, just so we know, and drag it behind the leg pants here. And now we're going to do the belt. So I'm going to zoom in. Again, we're still on a layer behind this torso, so when I draw this belt, all the suspenders, the tie, are going to show up above it, which is what we want. So start it here. That, again, trying to keep it parallel with this line. Bring it up, and there we go. We got our belt. Okay, and now what I'm going to finish up these arms. Put a layer above it. This layer, the arms can go. Yeah, I'll do the arms just below the next layer under the torso. Just as long as they're above the pants. So, and again, just for reference, I'm going to use the same color I used on the head, this purple, and I'm gonna start behind the sleeve roll that I had already drawn, because that's gonna be in front of it. Over here, little arch, the finger, the knuckle sticking out, and there we go. And make it same transparency. Close it off. Now let's do this arm up here. Again, this will start off behind these shapes here, the arms and the come up. I like this tool too because, like, this is kind of an organic line that I drew. If I followed this directly, it would kind of look like this and come around. I like the pen tool because I can simplify this shape right off the bat. I can just say, you know what, this needs to go. Sorry, this needs to go from here to here with one line and one smooth transition, one smooth curve, because these are going to be kind of 90-degree straight lines. So come up. Transparency so I can see. Putting little arches on the top. I didn't want to do actually 90-degree straight line. Come down. And go behind the layer. Okay, there we go. Zoom out, see what we got going. I guess we'll do the shoes now. And since the shoes are behind the pant layer, we want to start the layer right under it. And zoom in here. We'll use a red here for now. Start here, arch it, bring it back, and let's make sure that it clears that shape above it, the pant leg shape. So there we go. And come over here, do this one. Follow the outline here. And there we go. Okay, now we want to do the soles of his shoes here, so we'll just do a different color red and start there. I'm going to throw that line behind the shoe. There we go. Put the heel. Okay. And we'll do the same thing over here. Kind of follow that curve. And throw this behind it. The heel. Gotta go up a little more. This one's a little more hidden. Okay, and let's get that design we had on the shoe. So we'll make it transparent so we can see through it, see where the sketch is. Okay, make it a little. There we go. Okay, we'll use a darker red there. And let's just follow this down. Over to here and down. Actually, we'll have this come up and then we'll arc it. I might end up changing that later, but for now that'll do. I don't think I really got it the way I wanted it, but and we'll grab this color. Throw the same shape over here. See if this one turns out a little better. Yeah, it's probably a little closer to what I wanted. But okay, let's see what we got. All right, looks like we can start actually making making the colors work on this guy now. Start adding some gradients. There's a couple more lines I need to throw in. Actually, I'll do that now just because everything's transparent and it's easier to see the sketch now. So I'll do this sleeve seam here. It's a darker blue. I'll go back to my torso, close this up, and what we'll do is just kind of take a pen tool, some crazy lines, back down, and come up. That's probably too much. Here's what we'll do. We'll do a stroke line. So we'll grab our pen tool, go over to stroke, we'll go 1 point. We got to come down here, or you can even do it here. You grab your color, take off the fill, and our stroke's going to be, we're going to make it a dark blue, and we'll just do it that way. We'll go there we go. And we'll do the same thing for the pants, the lines in the seams in the pants. We'll use the same stroke, except I'll do, well, it doesn't matter, we're going to change it, but for now I'll do a dark green. And we'll come up here, zoom out a little, come to the bottom, give it a little arc. There we go. The pockets, same thing. Close it off. Over here. Again, this will be behind this sleeve in this roll, so you won't see this when the transparencies are back to 100% on it. Okay, now we can start messing with the colors and organizing it. So we'll start off with the face. I definitely want to do a gradient color with it, but we'll unlock it, lock everything else, and we'll give him a, let me delete that. We want to use the fill. The fill is in the foreground, the stroke is in the background. So like with my characters, I don't use a lot of strokes, but if I did, and I wanted to do the face, and I wanted an outline for the face, I would have the color selected for the face. Let me click off it. Color selected for the face. Then I would click on the stroke layer in the back, then choose a color. See my strokes at 1 point, and I'll just draw a shape, symbolize it, and there you go. And you can barely see the stroke. I'll make it a little thicker, but there you go. There's your stroke. There's your fill. I can also select the object. And if I don't want the stroke on there, select stroke and click the none. There you go, it's gone. But I don't need this fill at all either, so. Okay, let's change the face color here. I just did that. Maybe something like that. Gradient, I'm going to select it again, grab this color, the fill color, drag it down into my gradient. Now I don't need this one, so I'm just going to click on it and pull down, and it disappears. Now I want, this dark is not going to work. I want another color that's similar to this, maybe a little darker to add dimension and shading to it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is bring down this color again for the second time, drop it, get rid of this black, select this color, drag it over, and now I can just adjust this same color that's the same color as that up here. So the colors are similar and they're not conflicting with each other. And increase my transparency and maybe go from dark to light. Now I'm going to change the color of this mouth because that's probably really throwing it off. We'll just do this for right now. Okay. Okay, and go back in. These ears, they're going to go. I'm not happy with them. I don't know what they're doing there. So I'm just going to draw in some simplified ears with the same gradient color that I use for the face. I'll just go. There we go. Makes it a little easier to understand what's going on. Okay, and the teeth again, we're going to do white. I select them both. Click on one, shift, hold down shift, click on the other, both selected. Change colors on them at the same time. I want a gradient for this mouth, so I kind of want it to, the lighter part of it to be a dark red. Maybe like that, so I'll drag it down into the gradient, get rid of that, don't need it. And again, I'm going to use a similar color for the background, just darker, so I'm going to take the same color as this, drag it down into the gradient. I'm using a linear gradient right now. You have a choice of linear and radial. Radial is for the circles or any kind of circular shading, but I pretty much just stick to linear. I don't even really use that radial gradient. I haven't really perfected it, so drag it over here. Now I'm going to make this a little darker because we want to show some depth inside that mouth. So there we go, a little darker. Now I'm going to take my gradient tool, which is over here, click on it, and depending on what direction I click down and pull on, it makes the gradient change. So I go back this way, it goes lighter to darker. If I go from this way to this way, it's going to go lighter to darker in this direction. Up or down, bottom to top. Best way for this is going to work is to go lighter to darker, kind of show that this is the inside of the cheek closest to our view, and it would be a little lighter than the back of his mouth. His mouth would be darker. Now I'll even go a little darker on this. There we go. Okay, and now I want to add some shading to the teeth here. I want to show that the skin layer here is his lip is overhanging over his teeth, so they need to have a little depth. And bring it up a little. Okay, so since it's white, I'll just use black over it, and I'll follow it pretty much exactly as close as I can. Okay, that'll work. Come down on the teeth a little bit. Change my transparency so I can see where I'm going. And I'll close it off right about here, and I'll try and follow that same curve again. Okay, and I'm going to make the transparency come down to around there. You don't want it too dark. You just want to show a light shadow over the teeth. So if we zoom out, it kind of looks like the mouth is overhanging it a little bit. And a little back. This color of the nose, the outline of the nose and the chin, this like baby crap color, it's not going to work. So what you want to do is you kind of want to take the color of the head right now that it is and just make it a darker tone, just so it stands out but not drastically. So nose is here, select, let's go, let's see. I don't know if I want to go that orange, maybe a little closer to, yeah, that'll do for now. And I'm going to make the chin the same color, so I just select it, take the eyedropper tool, click on it, change its color. Okay, let's fix this tooth a little. Okay, and now these colors for the shadows that I did before, I just did them in that purple to show you kind of how they would look on the purple, but they need to be changed up now to fit his new skin color. And you know what, I can probably even use the color that I used for the fill on the nose and then just make it transparent. So I'm sticking with kind of the same color set. Yeah, that works. That makes a instant shadow for the eyes. Okay, let's draw in the eyes here. Do a couple pupils. We'll go blue. Go over to our shape tool. Come down to ellipse tool, and just drag out an oval shape. Oh, I did that in the wrong layer. My bad. I'm just gonna grab the path, drag it up to the eyes layer, and there we go. Now it's on top. Bring it over. It's gonna be cross-eyed. I'm going to put a black pupil in his eyeball, so I'll just select the shape that I drew, hit enter, copy, and once this is the new shape, I'll make it black. The shape is now in front of the previous eyeball shape. Hold down shift, resize it, make it smaller, and just bring it right back into the eye there. There we go. And I'll do a gradient with his eye, so I'll take the blue, drag it down, get rid of this, pull it over, grab the blue again, bring it down, get rid of this color. Now let's darken the blue. Okay, and we'll do it so the shadow is kind of, yeah, so it's lighter on top of the eye. Then we'll add a little eye glare to it, maybe right here. What happened there is the gradient still on, so I gotta click it out, hit the white button, and let's make the transparency so you're going to be able to see through the glare. This is a nice little thing with Illustrator, or in Flash too. You just change the transparency and then you can see right through it, and you can see it looks like an eye glare. And with the actual eyeball itself, I want to put a gradient on. I'll go white, get rid of the blue, and for here I tend to do like a real dark blue, something like that, but I barely leave it on there. I'll go top down, stretch it out. There we go. That just adds a little dimension to it. Sometimes I even, since it gets darker near the top of the eyeball, sometimes I'll even put a glare on it, so I'll start here, come over here, kind of follow the line, come back, close it out, and once it's there, change the transparency on it, and it just makes it like a shiny eye. It makes it a little more 3D and pop a little more. I'll actually keep that. So I'll do the same with this eye. Select it, eyedropper, click on it, change the gradient with the gradient tool. It's probably, that'll work there. And I'll select this eye. By clicking on it, I automatically get the same gradient as it, so I can click off it, go to my circle tool, make kind of the same shape, and it follows the same gradient. You can see it keeps the gradient the same, which is good, so I don't have to redo it. Now this eye is supposed to be behind this one, so I have to go to this layer, find the new eyeball I just did, it's selected there, and drag it behind all these layers, so it's just sitting on top of my eyeball. There we go. And I'll do the same thing where I select it, enter, copy. We'll make it a black pupil. Shift, resize it, bring it back down, and there we go. Okay, and we're going to add that same white glare that we put on the other one. This one's going to be a little longer, so I'll have to kind of cut it off in the center here. Okay. And select. Okay, zoom in a little, see how it looks. Alright, we're getting there. Go back in here and put this white glare spot that we had over here. So I'll just click on this one. It'll give me the same color, same transparency, and throw it over here. go. And I wanted to mess with the gradient that I have on this guy's face. It's pretty minimum right now. You can barely see that there is even a gradient. And if I click on it and show you, it kind of goes from this pale to almost red or pink color. So let's see, what do I want to do with it? Sometimes I'll just put it so the gradient gets darker along the side of his face to show kind of this is out more in the light. This is where it's hidden further back. Let's see how that looks. This gradient's bugging me a little too. It's not very smooth. That's a little better. No, I'm going to do something different with this gradient. I don't like this color. Let's make him a green guy. Let's make him, he's sick. He's a little sick. Make him a light, we'll go light green to, and we'll drag this color down. Get rid of this one. And we'll go a little darker. Okay, and no, going green was a bad idea. Bad idea. Pretend I never came up with that idea. I forgot that I already had like the colors picked out for it not to be green, so just edit undoing. There we go. We'll go back to this. Okay, and I want to do another shadow line under the eyes. So I'll just select this color again, come right under here, drag it out, close it, and come back with it. Eyedrop it, so it's same color. There we go. And I'll do the same thing for the other side, but this time it's going to come out a little different angle. And eyedrop. Okay, there we go. Some eye lines, some stress lines. Maybe you didn't get some sleep. And I'm going to add a gradient in his nose. I decided I'm going to do it. So, no, I'm not. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do a drop shadow behind it so it stands out more. So I'm going to use this color and put it behind the nose. I'll go from here. Just kind of follow the contour of it. Come up. Let's change transparency and follow this line back around. Okay, and we'll put another one right here. I drop it. There we go. It just makes it stand out a little bit more. So it's kind of off the face. And let's get this ear so it's on the same gradient as this. And we need to do the inside of the ear, so we'll add this same shading here. And I drop it. Change the opacity a little more, make it a little darker so it's more obvious. I think it just needs to be dark. There we go. Alright, it's a little better. This hair, it's gotta go. It's not looking right, so I'm just gonna delete it. He looks kind of funny bald, actually. Now I'll just do another style here. We'll go, and I'll give him these little prongs. And go up, kind of follow this line down. Change transparency so I can see where I'm going with it. see what this looks like. That's okay for now. I might end up changing it again, but we'll put a sideburns in, and it'll come down to about here. Put them at a point, and give them a curve. Zoom in. A couple little lines under it. There you go. So we got, he's looking pretty weird. Let's give him some eyebrows. And his eyebrows are kind of fun. I'll put a drop shadow on them and see what they look like. Go. One. And what I'll do is I'll just select it, hit enter, copy. Now here's the copy, here's the original. I need to drag this copy behind it, but first I'm going to show you where it is. It's in front of it now. I need to drag it behind it, and I'm going to change it to the shadow color. So, and then I just with my arrow key I can just move it up or down, left or right. That's kind of an easy way to move things sometimes. And I'm going to make sure that it falls under it, so it looks like the eyebrow is kind of just floating off his head, and it's further away from his head. Probably increase transparency of it. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other one. Copy, change the color of it, drag it behind the original, get down, something like that. And I'll show you another way. I already showed you how I can get rid of this, the excess, by putting another shape over it and putting it just one path above it, selecting on both, coming down here to the subtract from shape area, and then hitting expand. There's another way to do it. This one is probably a little more to it, but I go to my pen tool and I select the add anchor point, and I'll go right to where the line is, and I'll add an anchor point, and I'll come down here and add another one. And when I do that, there's still an angle working, so I've got to put another one right before it. So I'll put it right there, and I'll put another one right before it here. And then what you can do is come back up here, go back to delete anchor point. Now your pen tool cursor has the minus sign, subtraction sign next to it, and come and delete this point. And then it's got this curve still, and that's why I had to put in these second points, because then I just click on that one, makes that disappear, click on the other, that disappears, and then it follows the line. So it's just another way to do it. There's probably more involved with that way, but let's see. Okay, that's probably it for the torso for now. I'll add some shading under the chin here. At first I'll just follow the chin line. I'll bring it out to here, and now I will there we go, and I'll eye drop it. Okay, there we go. Okay, now to the collar and torso and the rest of the body. This will go a little quicker. We'll just unlock it, select the collar, let's bring its opacity all the way up. Same with the torso, bring it all the way up. Sleeve, because now we're going to be working with their actual colors and figuring out. So this arm is going to be the same color as the head, same gradient is going to be involved. And we'll just make it a little darker. that the same color? I'm going to make it a little different. Just maybe a little more orange to it. Just give it more of a curve. Okay, and the pants. Take off the lock, select them, bring their opacity all the way up with the back leg. This guy's got some clown clothing on now, man. Okay, this arm too is going to be the same as his head. And we want it to... Yeah, we'll keep the gradient shadow kind of on this side, just like on the head it's over here, and this arm it's over here. So the light is coming in from this direction. Okay, so with the shirt, we want, maybe I'll just match this with this collar. Nah, I need that sleeve to be darker. We'll match this with the collar. This will be just a little darker. So I'll just pick a darker blue. So this one will be the same as that. The pants can't be that green. Yeah, we'll do a blue like that, and then this one, I'll select that leg, select this blue, and then I'll make it a darker blue so you can tell it's in the back. Oh, there we go. And this belt can't be this green. Maybe we'll do a gradient with it. So we'll go drag this gray down, get rid of that. Drag the other gray down, get rid of this color, bring it over. One's got to be lighter than the other. We'll do a shiny belt. This has got to be darker. You know what? I'll do this in a solid color. I don't think gradient. It needs a gradient. So I just don't want it to get lost in that tie by being too dark of a color. Yeah, something like that. A maroon. These blues aren't working, so we'll do a green to dark green, or to a lighter green. And this will be a little darker green. I'll probably mess with these colors a bunch of times before I'm done, but okay, so the sleeve will make the same color as the torso. Just kind of tie the whole outfit back in together. Okay, I want to add some a shadow to the back here where this torso is in front of the arm. So I'll just take a darker green. Actually, I'll select it first, click off it, select the dark green, come back to it, just kind of follow this line because this is not going to overlap the torso for now. Seems, let me see here. This arm is in front of the pants and it's not supposed to be, so I have to find it, drag it, and I'll just drop it off with a random layer. There we go. Doesn't really matter at this point. Before it was, if I edit undo, you see how it was in front of the jeans, the pants here. That kind of confused me, so let's do edit, redo. Now it's in the back end. Okay, so I'll get back to doing what I was doing with it. Okay, dark green, come up here, follow this. Okay, here's a problem you might run into once in a while. Since what I'm doing is I'm on a layer that's behind the layer I'm clicking on top of, sometimes it doesn't let you, or it never lets you, kind of close out your point. Like when I click on this point now, this line is still here, and that actually creates a line. That's vector art right there, and that'll show up if you select it. And what's happening is because this layer is not locked, I can't close it. So I just have to go back to my torso and lock it, and now I should be able to, well, maybe it's the pant leg. There we go, it's the pant leg. Now that it's locked, I can now close it and continue to follow my lines. But so this is going to be the kind of shadow behind the torso. It's going to follow it. Okay, and we'll change the transparency on it so it's not quite so dark. See how that looks. Okay, see, it makes it pop a little. It kind of almost gives it a paper effect, like a layered paper effect. But it wasn't very well done, so I'm just going to quickly fix it. There we go. Work a little better. Okay, and we'll also put a shadow like that under the collar. I'm actually going to make our sketch disappear now because I don't need it anymore, and it actually is a little distracting with some of the lines. So I'm just going to go to my layers palette, find it, just make it hit the eye, close it out, and go back and fix this collar. Put a little shadow. Since this is green, I'm kind of going with the green vibe here. This blue needs to change, so we're going to change it to maybe just a darker green. That's a little too dark. Yeah, that'll work. And I can take that same green and go here to here, kind of follow the contour a little, come back. Now this needs to go behind the collar, which I believe is right there, or here. There we go. Now it's under this collar layer. And I'm going to change transparency so I can bring it, tone it down a little bit. It's not so dark. There we go. Now that makes the collar look like it's kind of popping. It's standing out in front of the torso. And we will fix this stroke, change the color. This blue doesn't work anymore. Just click on the stroke part, change it to a green. That'll work. And we said we wanted to do some folds in the sleeve before, so we'll just do a line. This needs to be a fill though. Actually, how does that look? No, we'll do a fill. So I'm gonna come down here and switch these. Switch the stroke to the fill. It just swaps it. I go back to it. And change the transparency. Just kind of make it look like a fold. Make it a little lighter. Stands out too much. There we go. And I had some arm hair on this guy here on this sleeve, so I'll just put that back in again. Do these, it's like 3 lines. Curve them a little. And one more, do a little go. I'm going to move these down because I want to add a shadow under his rolled sleeve here, just so we really get across the fact that this is in front of his arm. So we want to do a color similar to the gradient we got going on here. So we don't want the stroke, we want the fill. We'll do something like that. Come in. Okay, change the opacity. A little darker. See how that looks. There you go. Looks like a shadow. Okay. Let's change the transparency here. This is where I gotta start watching out with my layers. I get a little unorganized because I ended up having to move stuff. When I move stuff, I lose track of it. So it takes some practice, and I still find myself not being very organized. But the only good thing is you can always grab your, as long as you don't have mysterious lock layers, you can always take your black arrow tool and just click on whatever it is you want to deal with, whatever you want to select, and then once you have it selected, it shows you where it's located. So this is located in layer 6, open layer 6, and it's right here. So if I want to do any work with it, this is where it's at. I can always find it just by clicking on it. So it's not too big of an issue. Okay, and I want to, even though I already have this as a darker tint than the blue here, I still want to throw in a shadow just to really get it across that this is in the background. So I'll do a really dark blue. This actually has some blue in it. I like to mess around, especially I like to draw with CMYK as opposed to RGB. It gives you a lot of options in changing the hues and the tones of the colors. Just like this was almost black and I wanted it a little bit more blue, so I just slide this from here. It adds a little blue to it. So I'll click here. We'll say right here is where shadow is going to come down to, and it's going to cut across to here, come back, and we'll arc it to meet right there. It's not quite the right color. That's a little too dark, but I can just change the opacity on it. There we go. That'll work. Zoom out here. Okay. And around the shoes, I wanted to add kind of a lighter blue, almost like how the sleeves are rolled up. They're a lighter green than the green on the sleeve. Just like the pants are rolled. So I'll select this color and I'll just make it lighter. There we go, and do it again over here. Come down, follow it as close as I can. Oh. See, this one doesn't show up as much because this is lighter anyway, so I'll just make it even more light. There we go. Okay, zoom out. See what else I want to fix. The shoes still aren't done. These colors are awful here, so we'll go real dark red. Maroon almost. And this will go, there we go. There we go. These colors kind of work. And these suspenders I wanted to fix up. Let's see. Go in. First, something's bugging me. On the mouth here, you can see that we have these white teeth, and the only problem is that if there's any space with white above a black or a darker background, even though it's gradient, you can kind of see it becomes a little pixelated, and you can see behind it. So what I'll do is I'll just move the teeth actually a little on top of it, even though they're not supposed to be there. You're not going to notice. That might be a little too much, but it's just something that helps. I mean, it gets a little distracting when you see that. So actually, I'll select them both when I move it, so there we go. Okay. All right, these suspenders. Let's take them, shorten it up, and what we'll do is we'll give it one of these. And we'll give it a connector. Probably a little wide. And we'll do a couple buttons. You know what I got to do? I've got to save this real quick. I don't think I've done that yet. It's important to make sure you keep saving, especially with these programs, because they're pretty processor heavy, and sometimes I can't even tell you how many times I've lost my work. So I'm just going to do a quick Command S. Save it real quick. Yep. Okay, and zoom back out. I'll have to do the same thing with the other suspender now. I think that works a little better. Before I do that, I'm going to kind of separate this belt a little, just by taking the same color of the pants and putting the belt loops in. Just break it up a little. I may only have to do that one time actually, because it's broken up by the suspenders pretty well in the tie. Yeah, that's fine. I do notice this though, the torso here doesn't come down far enough, so it leaves this white space, and if I had anything behind this image, it would show through right there. So one way to do it is with this white tool. I just selected this point here, and then with my arrow key I moved it up or down. It's a pretty quick fix. And that's actually new with CS3, I believe. I know I didn't have that with Illustrator 10, and it's actually helps out quite a bit. So we'll take the suspenders, bring them up, change the angle on them a little, and bring them further. That'll work. Okay. Select this color again. Go over it. A little wide. And this color. You know what I'll do? I'll just select this, copy, bring it over here, shrink it down a little, holding shift. And it's a little cheat. There's a ton of cheats, so as long as it looks good. And bring it up. And this tie needs to be in front of it though. So this needs to come down behind the tie. Here's the tie. I just dragged it to here, right under it. So buttons. Okay, that'll work. Alright, I definitely did want to change the color of these suspenders, so let's see what we can do. I'll select all of them, just change them all at the same time. We can go darker. Does that work? Is that a weird? We'll keep messing around with it. I'm going to show you that. I think they do need to be a little darker. Whatever color I choose needs to be. That's okay. That's pretty ugly, but that'll work. That'll work. Okay, and what else? Oh, we'll do the same fold over here. So I just selected that one, zoom in the rolled up sleeve. So we'll go. Actually, with this one, this is where it gets real folded. Select them, change transparency on them. There we go, folded, done. This don't look good. It's all right. But, well, you know what we'll do? We'll add a gradient to this. That'll help this out. So we'll bring this color down. Get rid of this. Bring this color down again. And we'll go a little darker. So we'll go from light to dark on it. That's not the right darkness there. Might be a little better. We'll do the same with this. I drop it. Just adds a little dimension to it. And we'll do that with the sleeve. We'll start adding some dimension to this guy. So we've got a sleeve color here. I'm going to drag it down again. Get rid of this color. Bring it over. Make it a little darker. There we go. Let's do the torso. Drag the color down. Get rid of the one before. Drag it down again. Change the color. Make it a little darker. Direction do we want to go with this? Yeah, something like that. And we'll do the same with the collar. Drag it down, bring it over, drag down the same color again from the top, get rid of that one, drag it over, and make it a little darker. Go to the gradient tool. I guess we're keeping this whole side dark, so we'll just keep going with that. And there we go. We'll do that with the pants too. Drag it down. Bring it over, a little darker. There you go. Adds a little dimension to them. And even this pant leg, this is already dark. Drag it down. Just need to make it a little darker. There. Okay. We need to put his thumb in. And since our outline color is this, because we use it for the nose and chin, we'll use it again for the thumb. I'll just select it, come over here. this is on the wrong layer, so I'm just going to drag it up to here, back. Just kind of follow the line. There we go. Okay, what do we got? I'm trying to think of what else I want to fix with this. Black, I don't really like to throw in on top of any other colors. It doesn't usually fit. I like to use at least the hue of the color, so maybe that kind of green, just a real dark green. And we'll do some shading under the arm here, or where the hand meets the leg, like we did over here. So we'll go. Transparent so I can see, make sure I follow this line right. It's close enough. No, it's not close enough. Okay. I see some things I still do want to fix up. This back arm here, we want this to have the same gradient as this sleeve, but we're going to make it go light to dark this way. Give it some dimension. And what else I want to do? Oh, add some gradient to the shoes here too. I think I just moved it. Edit, undo. Oh no, I didn't. Go edit. Redo. Okay. Select the shoe. You gotta be getting this by now. Drag down the color. Get rid of the old one. Drag it down again. Get rid of the other color, and just darken this color with the slide. So we're gonna go light to dark. There we go. And we'll do the same with this one. We'll just click on it, eyedropper select, and we'll go dark to light this way. Okay, what else do we want to do? Okay, here's the situation. You see how on the pants of this guy here, I did a gradient on his jeans here, but I forgot to select his belt buckle, or his belt loop here when I did that. And this needs to be this needs to go along with the same gradient. So what I do is I just click on it, copy, and I can either match it myself, sit here and kind of keep messing with it until I get the right gradient so it doesn't stand out at all, or I just select it and select the jeans and zoom out a little and just do the gradient all over. And that way it's guaranteed to match perfectly with whatever the gradient is. Let's see if it disappeared. Yeah, you see it just blends right in. It just becomes one piece with it. So the stroke here, it's black, and I'd rather have it be a dark blue, so fix that up. Darken it. Okay. What else I want to do? I did want to put a drop shadow behind the tie here and in the seam of his collar. So with this seam here, I'm just going to select this color because this is the one I'm going to use for the shadow. Come right up to it, match it up, and make it transparent so I can see what I'm doing. Bring it up to about here, let it cut off, and I will a little more transparent. Now I want to get this layer in front of this because you can still kind of see it, so I'm just going to find it in the layer and bring it forward. Now I need this to go in front of it too though, so go back, find this, drag it up, hold it, and drop. Okay, and so let's put a shadow behind this tie here too. And to do that, we'll take a dark green, start it at the point, come right down to where the green ends of his shirt, come out, and back up. Okay, now we need this to be behind his tie. So we're going to go down until we see black tie. Where's it at? Up, one more down. Here's his tie. Here's the layer we just did, the shade layer. Now I want this to be a little darker, so when I do the transparency, it'll work a little better. Let's see. Back up, see how that looks. Yeah, that's okay. Maybe a little darker, and maybe come in a little more too. No. Yep, that's fine. Just needs to be a little darker. So up the transparency. Okay. Now the reason I stopped here instead of bringing the shadow all the way down to follow the tie is because it does not look good when you use the same transparency. Like green on green works, but I can't do green on blue. I'll show you what it looks like. It just makes it look a little odd. The best way to go is to use blue on blue, like dark blue on light blue, and it just kind of match the colors up because you'll get this effect. Now I'll make it the same transparency and we'll see what we got. It gives it that kind of pukey color. It doesn't look like a shade, so I'm just going to switch this to a dark blue and we'll see how it looks. Yeah, see, that looks a lot better. So this one's got to be thrown behind the tie again. And right there. Okay, and we're going to do another one here. We'll go about here. And let's make it same transparency as this. That looks good. Okay, and let's see. You know, this didn't end up working where I did the transparency on his arm here. What happened was it kind of messed up the shading that I had put on there. It just doesn't look right now. So I'll actually make this shading its own gradient. So I'll bring this down, move this over, drag it down again, and we're just going to change this color to a darker color. And that way we can kind of follow the darkness, the lightness that gradient under it has, and still need to make it a little transparent, but that works a little better. Okay, and okay, I just want to fix up a couple things, like his collar here. This goes a little too far out. I'm just going to bring it in. Okay, and another thing is this eye, if you haven't noticed, is another good thing too is with this dark arrow tool, I can just hold down, stretch it across, and select whatever objects that are not locked that are in that square that I made. So it selected both this eye with the gradient and the little glare I put in over it. So I'm just going to bring this in, make it a little more normal, and back out. wanted to get this in here. And the suspenders here, those need a gradient too, just because everything else around it is. So we'll drag the original color down, and those colors might work right there. Let me see. I'll go. No, this one's not dark enough. Here, we'll drag this one down, and we'll make it lighter. Okay. And we'll do the same. Zoom in, and do the same with this. Select. There we go. Let's give these a gradient too. These need a little depth on them. I can select them both at the same time, click on the gradient, see what we got. Sometimes it looks alright at first. Now we need it to go kind of light to dark. And light to dark this way. Okay, that looks alright. See if there's anything else I wanted to change up real quick before I finish this one off. I'll throw a gradient on the sole here, the shoes. I'll go back down. And we'll make it darker. Yep, so we'll get a little darker towards the end. And this one, we'll do a little something different. We'll just make it darker in general because it's hidden under his pant leg there. And this way, select it, I drop it. That looks okay there. And this one here. Darker. You know what, we can even give this guy 5 o'clock shadow. That's what we'll do. So we'll just go to his face level, which is down here, his head, and we'll do just a darker color. We can change it up in a second if it doesn't work. And we'll follow the contour of his head, come around. How should we do this? We'll go see how this looks. Well, it didn't quite work because there was no fill with the nose, and this doesn't really work, this line. So I'm going to try a different way of doing it. I'll go from here to here to here, and I'll try and follow that. And then try and make it match up with the sideburn here. Okay, now I'll decrease the transparency on it. Let's see if I want to do that. Not sure that I do want to do that. It doesn't really add anything to it that I need, so it's just you can do that with other characters though. Just add more detail, more character to them. So I guess this one's pretty much done. Now let's say that your boss or client, upon seeing your character design, has some alterations for you to make, which 9 times out of 10 they will. There will always be something that they catches their eye and something that you will have missed, which is great because it's a partnership, and the more constructive criticism you can have on a project, the better usually. Um, so let's say that our client says, you know what, that arc you have on the face is just a little too extreme, and could you bring it down a notch? I mean, it's just a little too wacky. So what we would do is we'd come in, get our selection tool, select the shape, and we can see that it automatically brings an outline of the selected area and with its points. And what we'll do is go to our pen tool and go down to add anchor point. And what we want to do is bring this cheek down a little. That arc is just a little much, so we're gonna put our anchor point right here on the line. You just go to the line and click. Then we're gonna go back up to our pen tool, go to delete anchor point, and come up to this point here, and just click on it, and bam, it's gone. Now that line is more subtle, less extreme there, and we can zoom out and kind of take a look at it. There we go. And say there's a the shading's kind of off. It's not at the angle it's supposed to be, like under the tie here, this area right here, and it's not following kind of the contour of the tie. If the light was coming in, the shading would arc more this way, and that's a pretty easy fix. This is kind of new with CS3. Is you grab the direct, I believe it's direct selection tool, and you come over to it, and we're just going to click. When we get close to the line, this white box will show up, or to the point we want, white box will show up. Click on it, and with our arrow keys, we can go left or right with it, and we want to go right just to kind of follow that angle. And there we go, and that's fixed up. And there's another tool I wanted to show you. It's new with CS3, and it's the eraser tool. And I'm just so used to not using an eraser in Illustrator. I never really even missed having an eraser. There's plenty of other tools to delete lines and subtract from shapes. It really isn't an issue, but this can be helpful if you're just looking for a real quick fix. Like over here, I had noticed that the pant leg here kind of comes up above this unnecessarily, and so I can just grab my eraser tool, and it doesn't matter what layer or path you're on. Whatever you go over with your eraser tool, it will erase. So we're just going to go right up to this, and kind of, that's a little bit much there. And it'll smooth it out once I unclick. I'm just clicking and holding down and dragging it across it. And you can see it kind of smooths it out right afterwards. Okay. And I wanted to show you how to, maybe your client says that his head is just too big. It's too tall there. So what you do is you grab your selection tool and click and drag down and drag across the entire head. Now it's going to select, since I kind of brought it over the collar and the torso, it selected them. All you got to do is basically touch it with the square selection, and it'll pick it up. So I'm just going to take the selection off those by holding down Shift and clicking on it, and the collar too, and clicking on it, and now the entire head is selected. And we wanted to kind of shorten it and squash it a little, maybe stretch it a little wider. And to do that, we just grab the corner and click and drag down and move it to where we want to. And now his head's a little shrunken. It's probably too much. You got to be careful with Illustrator. If you shrink things up too much, they kind of get this warped look, and you can tell that it's been squashed, and it's not a very good look. So what we would do, I'm just click edit undo, and it brought me back to it all being selected, and I wouldn't bring it down as much, maybe something like that, and it's not too bad, it's not too noticeable. Another thing you can do is, now that it's still all selected, I can go to Object, Group, and if there's more than one shape or path together, and you want to if you want to distort it, you have to group it first. You can't just select a bunch of different shapes, like this hand selected, the thumb, and these lines are all selected, and go to Effect, distort and transform, free distort, it'll only pick one of the paths out of all the paths to distort, and that's not what we want. We want to group the entire head. This is grouped now, so it's, if you look, here it is. It's all on this one grouping. Every path is in this one group. So with all that selected, I can go to Effect, Distort and Transform, Free Distort, and it gives me this box where I can click on, there's 4 corners, and I can click on any one of the corners and kind of click and drag to distort the shape. And I can bring this one in a little maybe. And it maintains the original box kind of outline so you can see just how far you're distorting it. And maybe bring it down a little. Maybe something like that. And we click OK. And you can see the distortion that took place. And I want to show you this. If we zoom in, you can still see the outline of the original head before the distortion. And that can mess with you, because if we click off it and then click back on the face, it's still there. And if you want to change any points like we did before, it gets kind of confusing, because in order to change the point on the head, you would have to go to the outline of the head. You can't select the head anymore. To fix that, what we do is we have it selected, go up to Object, and come down to Expand Appearance. And there we go. Now it's enveloped the entire head, and we can make the alterations we need from there. One more thing I wanted to show you that's new with CS3 that's actually kind of cool, but I have no idea how I'm going to use it or what to use it for yet, but it's definitely a unique tool. Is we'll just go up here, grab our pen tool, change this fill to a stroke, and we'll just make some random shape with it. We'll go like this. And then we select it, and we're going to go up to Effect, 3D, Revolve, and this will pop up on our screen. And what we want to do is hit Preview, give it a second, and now we have a 3D shape that we can go inside this circle and click and hold down and rotate it, change it around, mess with it, and just kind of see it from every angle. It's completely 3D, which is pretty cool. Haven't figured out what to do with it yet though, but it's just another option for you guys to mess around with out there. That's pretty much it for subtle changes. I'm going to edit undo all this here. Didn't really want to keep any of them, but we're going to import our kids character design sketch now and finalize it in Illustrator.